Let's talk about it. So Netflix got a new TV show, Meet the Family Reunion. It's a black, I guess you can say that with air quotes, a black sitcom. I watched the first episode. This is what you see on your screen. Is the cast of the show. Very, very octoroonish, but we're gonna talk about that. At least they try to make it make sense, unlike they did in the Cosby Show. They just brought Lisa Bonet and the other chick out of nowhere. But I watched the first episode, and I'm gonna give my review of what I think of the first show. We haven't had a good, to me, black sitcom in a minute, or a more family orientated one. And let's see if this makes the cut. But yeah, this is a new Netflix show. I watched the interview on the Breakfast Club, which made me even go decide to watch it in the first place. But let's talk about it. Loretta Devine always somebody mama, man. She always somebody mama in these shows.
Wow, Jade, you're the same color as this pudding.
Leave your sister alone. Black people come in all shades and we're all beautiful.
Jade just takes more after my mother.
Yeah, but Grandma Daffy is white.
Yeah, and she's still darker than you.
All right, the synopsis of the show basically is the brother right there, 15 years in the NFL. He's an NFL player, and he's hanging up his cleats. His family lives in the West. On the West Coast, Seattle. No black people. They make fun of that instantly in the show. It kind of gives me that same vibe, even though Queen Sugar is a drama and this is a comedy. Same thing where the main character from that show is also a 75%er. No, she's biracial. The mom. And her husband was in the NBA. And he was, if you watch Queen Sugar, you know what happened. But anyways, another person coming from California back to the South, and they deal with that whole thing where the kids come from multicultural kumbaya places like California and then move back to like a deep South. Same thing is going on here. He retired from the league and he wants to be back around his family, so he moves the wives and kids to, I think it's Alabama. They moving to or some shit, or some southern state, whatever. But first episode, I did like it. Funny, it had jokes. Off the bat, they got on the color issue. Off the bat. I watched the interview on Breakfast Club with, I don't know which one she is. She's the one that married the black dude, and out of the twin sisters, and they were talking about some stuff. Now, one thing I will say is that it doesn't have the vibe that I get from a lot of sitcoms that like overly liberal, overly preachy. Only from the first episode. I didn't see any of that yet. So that's a plus for me. Like, you watch Blackish, every episode is that. Read Between the Lines was that. I mean, not Read Between the Lines, but Survivor's Remorse had some of that elements into it. The Carmichael Show, which was funny, but it also had that overly leftist, feminist bullshit going on in the show. Every episode was like a damn TED Talk, basically. But I haven't got that from this show yet. It's been funny. It's been legit. It seems to be politic-free. Although in the interview, Tia talked about some of the things that she was going to do in the show, like show how she doesn't, like some of the stuff is her life, and some of the stuff is the main daughter's life. I mean, the youngest daughter. She, her family, her father, she's biracial also. That's another point to get to. But she, her father was an athlete, played sports. I think her father was in the NBA, and her mother, I forgot what she did, but was some type of executive. But they do the whole one drop rule thing early on. They try to explain, because one of the jokes was that the one little brother said to his oldest sister, "You the same color as this banana pudding." And then the father comes up and says, "No, blah, 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 we're black, we all come in shades." That bullshit. So at least they try to address it and get in the front. But she's not black, she's biracial. So there you have that. Now, I've said from a while now that instead of replacing biracial people, black women with biracial characters, they're going to just use biracial characters and come off that storyline. And we've seen that with Blackish, with Tracy Ellis Ross, and she's got her own spinoff show now too. You saw it was Zendaya in the last Spider-Man. You also seen it in the Carmichael show. Like that's a script line, that's a storyline. So instead of doing the dumb thing where they put a biracial woman and make her black, they are just using biracial people and having that whole separate storyline. But in this instance, the mom is biracial, and of course she can have some light-skinned, 75% looking kids that you can tell they have white people in their DNA. But the older sister, I was like, something different. Like the other kids, I can get it. They look like they could have, the genes just showing through. But the sister is too damn bright-skinned, did it. And of course, I looked her up, and she is biracial. I was saying, like, is she also a 75% where the genes are just strong? No, she's also mixed. But other than that, it's funny how they address that right away. They try to get that out the way early, and say, oh, we all come in different shades and sizes. Black people come in all different shades and colors. We're all beautiful and all that. Like, no, motherfucker. She's biracial. But nonetheless, that's what y'all doing. But other than the show looking real octoroni, at least they try to explain it. Like I said, that it's not like the Bill Cosby show where they just came out of nowhere with Lisa Bonet's older sister on the show and just like, here's some mixed ass kids in a black family with 2 dark skinned black parents. But other than that, I liked the first episode. Had some nice jokes, had some funny. It did not feel like you had white people writing for black sitcoms. And I think that's one of the things that she addressed on the Breakfast Club interview, is that that's not the case. It didn't feel like that. You can tell when it's like that, and it didn't feel like that. It felt like people who were coming from, they can understand the difference between people who grew up in a predominantly white environment and then moving back home or back to the South for a predominantly black family. That vibe was there. You can tell, like, whoever wrote that knew what they were doing. The jokes were funny. This is the same situation that happened in this episode where the girl walked up to a bunch of black girls with the Powerpuffs and the pro-blackness stuff going on, and she's not from that environment. She's not from that. So, of course, she didn't know what was going on. She wasn't taught those things growing up on the West Coast. But that's a similar thing than what happened on the TV show Queen Sugar with the biracial chick's son. He's, again, same storyline kind of, where they moved from the West Coast to the South. Their situation was New Orleans, and he's dealing with all those issues. Now, on his character, he became, half pro-black, half free, even though he's not biracial. He's a 75%er because the mom is half white and half black. But I'm saying he just became on some J. Cole, got the dreads and all that stuff, and went straight up pro-black. Doesn't seem like they're going to go that with this show because the sitcom's not that deep. But that was kind of like a similar storyline where that happened on both. But, yeah, funny so far, cool jokes. Doesn't feel like it was written by white folks trying to write a black family, which a lot of these sitcoms and shows are, and it sounds horrible, and the jokes are horrible. The joke was funny. The chick was like, yo, I feel like I just got attacked by black Twitter. So they're definitely relevant in the jokes and stuff like that. Let's see what happens, though. Will it get a second season? A lot of people put The Cosby Show as the metric in the bar, and I would agree. Although the first couple seasons, when they did that switch and add people and all that stuff is weird. But it is still a metric in the bar for what it was. A lot of people, 80s Babies, they love the other show that he did, the one about college, A Different World or whatever. But for the love of me, I can't get into that show. Like, I just try. Like, I watch 2 or 3 episodes and be like, yeah, this is boring. I can't get into it. I can't get into the parts where I want to see what happened later on when, they got older and people got married and whatnot. But I just can't get through it. But a lot of folks my age, that's their show. Like, they appreciate that show. They don't care about the Cosby Show. They understand that the Cosby Show brought forth that show. But if it wasn't for the Cosby Show, there wouldn't have been A Different World. But they like that better. I can't get into it. Another show to me that is up there with the Cosby Show that we don't talk about because we act like it was this Cosby Show and that was it. But we had The Rock. We had Family Matters was different, but I'm not gonna say it's up on that par. But we had that. We had Lincoln Heights, which is a show that I thought was comparable to the Cosby Show in the sense that it was and they did more of the things that the Cosby Show didn't do as far as go into the community and address issues. That they did that differently that the Cosby Show didn't do. You know, it was a middle class black family who mom was a nurse, father was a cop. Black cop said, "We taking our family, we going back to the hood," and you can know all the stuff that came around that. So I put that up there as like next to the Cosby Show. I put Lincoln Heights up there. This show, I don't know if, like, again, like I'm talking about, was just not like the family stuff, the issues that they talk about, and it actually being funny without being preachy. Like, those are metrics I look for in a good sitcom, a good black sitcom, quote unquote. Like, Blackish and all that stuff is just like, I stopped watching Blackish after the second season. I did go back and binge like later because I wanted to see what was going on with it, but it just stopped holding my interest. Have no desire to watch the new show with Rainbow or the show with the daughter in college. Don't have no desire to watch either one of those. That's probably for like little millennial fuckity fucks to watch. But I like the first episode. I'm gonna continue to watch it. It was funny so far. Hopefully, don't get overly worldly, liberal, and preachy. And I say that, but in the interview on the Breakfast Club, Tamika, or whichever sister she is, she was saying that like we don't discipline our kids, and saying like she doesn't share a lot of the more traditional things, like not going to church or letting them pick their own religion type stuff. Like, they're trying to be those type of parents. But you would think the sister who married the white dude would be on that type of stuff, but it's not. The one who married the black dude, is on that alternative parenting styles and whatnot. And they show some of that in the show, and they show you the rifts between, obviously, Loretta Devine and her husband. They're old school black Southern parents, and they don't probably approve. They're not budging in or nothing like that. But there's that. Like, that's the only. They're trying to do this new age parent stuff that, you know, most black folks ain't on this shit, trying to parent their kids this way, but they are. But again, it makes sense because they come from the West Coast and they're around those type of elite circles, so it is what it is. But if they can keep the overly liberal shit out of it and trying to be preachy, you know, it'll definitely be a good show. But I don't see it going in that direction because it doesn't seem like that at all. So let me go finish watching some of the episodes and see how it turns out.
You know, growing up, church has always been a part of my life. I feel like with black culture, church is always a part of, you know, everybody's life, whether you wanted to go to church or not.
Correct.
You were in church on Sunday. And I just really love that about this show.
All day.
Yes. You know, this show is for us, by us. And what I love about, you know, the writing staff is the stories are very authentic and they're very real. And it makes the show very relatable and very grounded, and that's why I was really, really excited about doing this show.
Have you learned anything